Hello and welcome to another episode of Corner Office. I'm your host Ryan Malyar, and I'm so excited as always to be joined with our Mayor Christian Dumais. Today's episode is being filmed on May 22nd, 2024. Welcome, Mayor.
Thank you for having me again.
Excellent. It's my pleasure to have you here and just discuss some great things that are happening in the city. But of course, we got to start off with something serious. And budget season is just wrapping up for the city of Marlborough.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how your first budget process went and what resolutions we've come to.
Yeah, so the budget was approved on Monday, so it's done with. And, we sent down a very conservative budget, and City Council decided to cut some more things, which is their prerogative. They can. And unfortunately, my communications director position did not make the final approval. I can understand some of their concerns, but it's kind of a platform that I ran on, and I think communications is huge. You in media know what that's like to be able to provide certain information to the residents. But we'll keep plugging and doing what we can. My office is incredible about communications, but it's just a lot of work. I don't think councilors understand how much goes into communications and the need for it. But I was a little disappointed with that. But we'll still continue to do what we can when we can do it and provide that information. But the budget is done, and we have to move on and figure it out.
Were there any other major cuts that had to be made?
Few overtime, with that, but it's nothing that we can't figure out with the budget. But yeah, again, I was just kind of more hopeful that the communications position would go through, and it didn't. So we kind of have to move on. So.
Compared to the previous fiscal year, has the budget gone up a tremendous amount? How does it all affect
regarding
taxes, citizens' taxes?
Regarding percentage-wise, it didn't go up that much considered for fiscal year 24. It was very small percentage, but we have huge costs that did go up that we have to take in consideration. Our health insurance went up 7%, water is going up, sewer is going up, electricity is going up, So
even with the community aggregation plan for electricity, it still goes up.
It's still going through the roof, So we have to maintain that, and so with all those increases, we did I thought a very diligent job of making sure that that tax rate is not impacted. So we looked in streamlining different positions to see what was effective, what wasn't effective, what's working, what's not working, trying to start with succession planning so the city can run pretty smooth with 5 to 10 years. That's very important for me. I'm not going to be here forever, and neither are the department heads. So we were kind of streamlining things with the budget and starting looking at that now. Right. So that for me is the most exciting part, is should I get communications out there and streamline so we have a proper succession plan. If we don't have a plan, then what's the point,
And then it's always a consideration, how are the pay scales and salaries that you're offering, how do they compare to other public entities in the region? And I believe a study is being put together right now, and that should be available December-ish or something.
That's the plan, salary and compensation. Marlborough's not very competitive when it comes to our salaries. So again, if we want qualified people to help run the city, we need to pay accordingly for that.
But then higher salaries equal higher taxes, and that's the whole balancing of the scales you have.
It is, but my experience as a city councilor, now mayor, if you don't hire the qualified candidate, it does more damage in the long run, and it's cost prohibitive if you hire a candidate that's not qualified. So that's what we have to balance out. Do we want someone who can just kind of pass the mustard, or do you want someone who actually knows what they're doing so they can set the city up for success and not just good enough?
Right.
But it's again, like your point, it's a balancing act that I'm responsible for, and I'm very honored to do that, but we all have to work together in order to create a city that actually runs effectively.
Absolutely. Next little item we have here are smart boxes. I've seen some of these boxes on Main Street and throughout the city. Explain what exactly they are.
So there's 50 boxes. It's a 6-month pilot program that began in May. So they're boxes that bait rodents. Obviously, there's a rat issue. So we took it upon ourselves to figure out, okay, with the rodent sighting that we've been pushing throughout the city website, so the responses have been great. So we utilize those responses and we plug them into a GIS map. And based upon those sightings, we're able to have these 50 smart boxes that were placed throughout the city. And the rodents can go into this small little hole. There's like a little elevator lift that kind of lifts them up and electrocutes them, and then they put into a bin, and then this outside vendor comes and collects them every few days. So there's no poison, rodenticide. It's the best possible way to eliminate the rats without doing further harm to other animals. There's been a lot of issues with people utilizing poison or rodenticide, and then owls or other animals will eat the rat and then die along with the poison. So we looked very hard at how to eliminate that process and try to be smart about that. And so they're out there. So if you see them, that's what they are. And they're movable. So if there's no trappings that are happening, we get reports from the vendor.
That's what I was curious, if they're going to track in some way how many they're collecting at each different area.
Yep, they're GPS, and they check them, and then if there's not any activity over the few days, then we're able to move them to a different area that may have an issue based upon the rodent sighting. So it was an initiative that needed to happen. It's not something that I ever thought I would be
one of the
working with.
You have to tackle.
First thing. But you know what? Again, social media and utilizing social media and listening and hearing this ongoing issue and then being able to take action, that's obviously the most important, So thank you to everyone who did the rodent sighting. It was the perfect way for, my theory is, help me help you. So it's a perfect example. So if we didn't have these rodent sightings, we wouldn't know where to put the smart boxes. So everyone that did it, I'm sorry that you had to see the rodent, but for those that did put the sighting in, it was a tremendous help. Right. So,
and knock on wood, I haven't seen one, but we have a box right here on Main Street. Yep. And I have noticed, especially now that spring and summer are here, that Main Street is looking really nice thanks to the DPW. And we've got some parades and festivals and great things coming up. Yep. What's the itinerary look like for Memorial Day?
So Memorial Day is the parade every Monday on Memorial Day at 10 a.m. We start with that, but Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we put out flags throughout all the cemeteries. So I'll be joining veterans in doing that. It's always a great thing. So Friday the 24th at 11 is IC Cemetery. Saturday the 25th at 9 is Evergreen, and then I believe Monday there's the run. So we do the run from Hildreth School with Matthew Sargent, who is incredible. So they run from Hildreth School down to City Hall, and then we do a roll call names of everyone that lost their lives that are affiliated with Marlborough, and then we go to a few other locations and calling the names. It's actually a really beautiful ceremony. It's very private. Not too many people go, which is unfortunate, but I just don't think people know about it. But to hear all the names that have sacrificed, so we can have our freedom, and just hearing the names and little backstories about them, it's truly moving, and I was able to join last year. I'm looking forward to it this year.
That's part of the run, or that's part of the actual?
So you run to, so you go to Hildreth School. Yep, it's actually even before the parade. Yeah, so Hildreth School, and then they do the run to City Hall, and then that's when the calling of the names. Sure. And then the parade happens after, so it's just before.
And of course, people think of the huge Labor Day parade, which we have to get ready for. But this parade, it's a little smaller, but it's very special. And we still get the Marlborough High School Panther Marching Band out there too, participating. Yeah. And then that ends up meeting its final places right in front of the Walker Building, where they do some speeches as well. That's a very nice ceremony.
I'm honored to do a speech there this Memorial Day, and just to honor those that lost, so. Memorial Day and Veterans Day, they're truly, like you said, it's small, intimate, but it's really important for the community to come together and recognize, So I'm excited for that. Busy weekend, but it's for such a good cause.
Right.
Yeah.
Next item I have here is some free cash transfers. Have these been approved yet, or this is something you're hoping to do?
We're hoping. So obviously walking into the mayor, and we need to fund the Labor Day parade, so we did not add it to this year's budget to keep the tax rate low. So we have some money in free cash, so we're looking to hopefully utilize that. The Labor Day parade is very expensive to run, and it's never enough money allocated, so we'll be soliciting for donations for the Labor Day parade just like we do every year, but we want the city to help invest as well and not ask the community to step up. The city should be doing their part as well. Usually there's money that's rolled over year after year, but there's no Labor Day committee anymore. The woman that Melanie kind of retired, as she should. She's been doing it for a long time, and I thank you for her dedicated service. So now my office needs to take over that, and it's just another added.
I was wondering what was happening, because usually I've been in meetings for Labor Day parade for months now.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're a little behind the ball, so thank you for that. Again, it's not something that the mayor's office should take over, but we're happy to do that, and then with this being our first Labor Day with my administration, we obviously want to continue the success of Labor Day and make it bigger. Because we want to do like a little festival on Sunday. So that's why we're asking for the free cash. So we can, when I grew up, there was always a festival. There was always an event down at Ward Park. And so now we're trying to make it to do the same, so the vendors and things like that.
Maybe a few rides or...
We're still working out those details. And,
yeah.
We can't book things unless we have the cash for it.
Right,
So
right. Don't put the horse before the cart.
So hopefully City Council will approve that, and then we can start with the planning. Obviously, we have some idea of what we want to do. That's how we came up with the money, or at least the dollar amount. And then, again, it's just bringing back like that Marlborough nostalgia of having the community come together, and we're changing some things and have it down on Main Street, and again, part of that revitalizing Main Street, we're bringing events downtown so we can focus on Main Street. But that's kind of the plan, and hopefully City Council will think the same. But we'll see. And then we asked for $115,000 for a dog park. So
that's matching money that you've already secured for the dog park, correct?
Yep. So we used ARPA funds for $150,000 for the dog parks. That's federal money. And then we earmarked about $35,000 through the state. So hopefully that will come once they approve their budget. But fencing and everything else is rather expensive. So we need an additional money to complete the project so we can get that done. And
is there a location already secured?
There is a location. Correct. I'm not going to give out where yet. Yeah. So again, if council doesn't work with us for this additional funds, then we obviously have to figure out a different location or make it smaller or do something. But DPW already made the plans. We already have a site. It's just a matter of clearing, and fencing is expensive. Bark mulch, because you want a larger area for large dogs, smaller area for small dogs, and kind of we want to do it right. And this is how much it came in as. So we're kind of now hopefully the council will approve it and we can get that completed. Yeah, I mean the need for the dog park has been going on for many years, and again it brings that community together.
Well, there are certain areas and parts where dogs are not permitted, even certain trails which are for dogs, not for dogs.
Correct.
So,
like the boardwalk.
Well, let's talk about the boardwalk, because the boardwalk is fantastic.
It is.
And you had a lovely opening ceremony. The previous Mayor Arthur Vigent was there as well, because I know he sort of got the ball rolling with it, and you were able to come in at the tail end and put it all together.
Yeah, and I was very thankful that Mayor Vigent did come.
Yeah.
I reached out to him like, hey, do you mind just coming? He's like, yeah, I'll make it happen. And I'm like, thank you. Like, it was just very good to see him. I hope he's doing well with his retirement. But I wanted to make sure that he was included, because he started this.
Absolutely.
And it's such a beautiful asset to the community. Like, I drive by and people are on it all the time taking pictures. I saw one picture where someone was in a wedding gown, which was great. And I'm like, wow, I was there yesterday, and people from other communities meet. Like, it's turning into a destination, and we did the ribbon cutting.
Well, just to see people in the little gazebo by the courthouse as well, which usually is vacant, but you see people meeting up there with their water bottles before they go on the loop. And even Mike and I took an afternoon and said, well, we got to do it ourselves to know what it's all about. And to do the whole loop for us at a pretty brisk pace took about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was It was absolutely
nice.
lovely, and the trails are beautifully maintained.
They are.
As you get past the floating boardwalk, Priscilla Ryder and Conservation have done just a great job with it.
The Trails Committee, like, they knock it out of the park. I mean, there's 40 miles of trails in Marlborough, even probably closer to 50, and they maintain it. It's all volunteer based, and like, so kudos to them. But to your point with the gazebo, like, it was named after Gay Rowe, who was an incredibly beautiful woman and cared about the community, and so that was donated by the Rowe family, and we did a honor service for her sometime last year, and so now to see that, like, I know she's just looking down and saying, wow, like, people are utilizing the gazebo, and it's a place for people to gather, and so it's, for me, it kind of warms my heart because she was such a special woman, and now to have that be part of the community and people utilizing it, because people didn't really, just because there was it was a random, it was a beautiful gazebo, but it was so random, but now having this boardwalk and people utilizing it and coming from all over, and it just fits.
So let's just reiterate the rules about this boardwalk. Hopefully one final time, and then we can put it to bed.
I don't know if we'll ever put it.
But no dogs.
No dogs.
No fishing. No bikes.
No bikes. Yeah. I like to say what we can do. Just walk or run. That's it. It's just a lot easier.
And there's some seating places along the way too. If you want to sit, you can.
You can sit on the boardwalk. I think the police chief was just telling me that people, like teenagers, were like sunbathing on it, which was interesting. But again, when you open things up, people have their own ideas for agendas, and but again, just the use of it. People
keep it simple.
Walk or run. Don't even run. Just walk and enjoy. But there's something so calming about when you go. When you first walk down into the entrance of the boardwalk from the gazebo, and you just see this magnificent lake. It really is breathtaking for me, being a longtime resident and not being able to ever use the lake, and now to like be able to like literally walk on water. It's kind of cool. But the ribbon cutting went well, and we did a hike the next day, and thankfully we had 2 great, beautiful days, and the people came out. People love it. So I'm happy to have it.
Well, let's talk about another ribbon cutting that just happened for the community the Friends Fridge. Which is located at Immaculate Conception Church, right off of Main Street. Yeah. And I was there too, but you tell me a little bit about this
so
fridge.
It was a Girl Scout Gold Award. Caitlin, she goes to AMSA, lives in Marlborough, and she came up with this idea of a solar-powered fridge. There's a legit fridge in a little cabinet, like a pantry, and it's there for anyone who needs food, So if you have extra funds at the grocery store and you want to donate, they're always looking for donations, so you can kind of
just as quickly as it's being filled up, it's being depleted, which only shows to me that there's a need for it.
There is a need, so like I'll be monitoring it myself, and probably going to BJ's and get like butter or bread, or like those things that you kind of need that are kind of expensive, and it's a great community project. Now it's up for the community to make sure and maintain it. So that's kind of what I've been advocating or helping to advocate for, because it's great that it's there, but if no one stocks it or kind of upkeeps it, then it's just an empty fridge. And that's kind of the point of why it's there, because people's fridges are empty, So, but yeah, it was a great event. Caitlin is an incredible woman, and she's going to do a lot of great things, and being able to talk to her.
And so well spoken, and just what a big idea.
It is
not a bench dedication, a big idea that took a lot of community collaborators to put together. Yeah. So congratulations.
Yeah, no, and it was great to be a part of that, and to see it come to fruition.
But we should also point out that Marlborough does have its own food pantry as well, only a block and a half from that fridge. But of course, the food pantry has very specific hours.
Correct.
And this fridge is open basically 24 hours, I believe, for you to either make a donation or to come and make use of it. They do have a list of rules posted on the fridge of items they will accept or won't accept. Main thing I noticed was that they don't really want raw meat in the fridge. Because it's hard to maintain.
Correct.
But on the pantry side of things, they'll accept any non-perishable items, including items like toothbrushes, deodorant, and any personal care items as well.
which again, the rising cost of everything, you know. So again, it's another way for the community to step up, and Marlborough residents, they step up, you know. So it's great to see that, and word's getting out that it's there, which is a beautiful thing, and I think people will definitely continue. It's just reminding, hey, this is here, you know, to serve the people that actually need it. So
absolutely.
Yeah, no, but it was great to see you there.
Yeah, good to see you too. Project Clean Sweep was another success this year.
It was, yeah. It was the 20th year, and yeah, it was great to see people coming out in their bright yellow shirts and just beautifying Marlborough. You know, again, anytime the community come together to help make Marlborough beautiful is always a good thing, and we're looking forward to next year.
Excellent. And you had another Chat and Chew. Was that at the Senior Center?
It is.
Will they always be at the Senior Center?
Yeah, so it's designed for seniors. So the junior women's came and provided food for the seniors. And, you know, it's a great way for the seniors to ask questions about what's going on and get that right from the horse's mouth information. We're like, hey, what's this question? What's that question? What's going on here? What's going on there?
I think we take for granted sometimes how accessible some information is for us via Facebook or navigating the web. But with, you know, the decline in print newspapers and print media, it gets even harder to get some of that information. So being there in present to talk about issues is huge.
You know, I am very comfortable at the Senior Center. I was there just yesterday serving lunch or helped serving lunch. Actually, I didn't really serve that much yesterday. I was too busy talking. Yeah, usually I'm out serving and collecting and putting dishes away, and Ryan does the dishes, so definitely pitch in. But the Chat and Chew is just a different format because like it's just me just fielding questions, you know, giving them little updates, kind of like what we're doing here. But the guard is down a little bit. You know, we can laugh and joke, and you know, it's a little more on the personal level, which for me I think is important, not only to be present, but I am a real person at the end of the day. You know, I like to joke. I like to have a good time. And I know that this position is very serious at the end of the day, but it's good just to laugh, you know, and joke and make funny little remarks. And, you know, it's great for me. And they enjoy it because, I mean, there's always a waiting list, it seems like, for the second one. So, again, people want that information.
They do.
And it's good that people are still interested, you know, 5 months, 6 months in, people are still engaged and want to know what's going on. It's usually like the honeymoon period kind of like fades out. So it's nice to see people still wanting to be engaged and show up on a Saturday morning.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they want the breakfast, but I mean, yeah, I want to take some credit that they want to see me.
One of the positive changes I've seen recently on Main Street is a new business popping up and another business moving to a bigger location. That's pretty cool. And I know one of your main platforms when you ran for mayor was all about small business in the community. So tell me about that.
So being a small business is very hard. You know, you day in, day out, it's grueling, much like being the mayor. But so to see word on the street open up literally during the world shutting down, and to see her thriving and now
I didn't realize that's when she opened.
Yeah, she opened during COVID, and then to see her, and Allison's an incredible woman. She's very community focused, and you know, she just loves what she does. You can see that passion. To see her move to a larger space, it's just to see that process grow, you know, because she was a client at the salon, and she's like, this was her dream of hers, and we figured out that location was there, and she took the chance, and now to see her into another spot. And of course, now that opened up prime real estate. So now Alexis with Vibes Candles is
Vibes Candles, they were one of the vendors that were in the sheds.
That's a true success story.
That just shows that wonderful project through MEDC with those community shed shops. Someone who gave it a try there was now able to move in a permanent retail location.
I think she got a taste of what it's like, you know. So, but now the space is available. She was working out of her house, and she always dreamed of again having a store on Main Street. And this location opened up, and she jumped at the opportunity. So now she's doing all her candles there and making the candles and doing classes, I would assume. But she opens up her grand opening is on May 31st, so I can't wait to go in. And I kind of knock on the door and see the progress. I follow her on social media.
Yeah, she's had the windows all covered up.
Which was a genius idea.
Well, then you can have the big reveal.
Yes, yes. But even like, it's like a newspaper print, you know? So like you kind of can read her story.
Well, I just saw what she did to that shed when she had it.
Yeah.
And she transformed it, so I can't wait to see how fantastic this shop will be.
I've known her for a while, and she is a visionary. You know, she's so creative, so talented. She has her hands in everything. So like, this is just the beginning for her, just to see. I'm excited to see. I mean, she's done jewelry, which I bought. She had candles. She had sunglasses. Like, yeah, she's been, I sent her a text. Like, she's been involved in my life in a lot of different aspects. But again, she grew up here. Her husband works for DPW. Like, they're Marlborough grown, you know, and to have that pride, and now she's beyond excited. So it's very infectious, because like that's what you want to see downtown, where people take pride in their community and want to give back. And both Allison and Alexis do, as well as many other restaurants and places on Main Street. But it's such a great kickstart of Main Street.
There's another project you're kickstarting. You're collecting children's books.
Collecting children's books, yeah. So this started during the campaign. So at different events, we hand out books for kids.
I saw you doing it at the Family Fun Festival just recently.
And it's really great, you know. Yeah, so this kind of started like, again, with the campaign, and, you know, everyone has books, and like, what do we do with them? And so the response has been great. So people have been dropping them off at City Hall, and it's just to repurpose them, you know. So if your kids are grown up and you're like, what do we do with this? So we'll be happy to take them, and so at different events we'll hand them out, and kids are excited because they get a book. And it's funny because people are like, oh, you know, like, just take one. I'm like, take them. Like, if you're gonna use them, like, reading is so fundamental. And if the kids are excited about a book, take it, enjoy it, share that time with your kiddo, and read to them, and, you know, and kind of spark that excitement about reading, especially with the new library. You know, like, it's beautiful. So. Yeah, so we're taking books. So if you have any, please.
So just swing up to Mayor's office, City Hall?
Yeah, drop them off, and please leave your name and number or address so we can send you a little thank you.
Oh, sure, sure.
You know, again, you want to acknowledge the people that give. So
well, let's acknowledge the people that give in the public schools. You had Teacher Appreciation Week.
We did, yeah. So I was with the superintendent and a few school committee members, and we hit up every school.
Every school.
I went to every school, tried to get into every classroom, and we gave them a backpack to all the teachers to say, hey, thank you for all you do. And, you know, it's just great to go into the schools and acknowledge. And I mean, they're so incredible, like all the school teachers, what they do day in, day out. And you know, the way the climate is, the environment is, and our school population is so diverse, and, you know, and the challenges that they have with the space, and so limited. But what they do every day to teach the future is remarkable. So for me to go there and say thank you, it meant a lot for me. I don't think they realize that they appreciate it. So, you know, thanking them, they're like, thank you. I'm like, no, we're here to thank you. But they're so thankful for us just to be there and to see all the kids, and, you know, have the kids give them a round of applause. And, you know, it definitely sends a heartwarming message for me just to say, hey, thank you. But again, it's just cultivating that relationship, you know, that's needed, you know. Plus you get to see what they do and what they do every day, which is, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
I could never do what they do, you know, like, I'll be happy to take my hours any day of what they do.
Right.
Yeah, it was a good week. Got a lot of steps in.
Yeah.
A lot of steps.
And then I believe you had a visit recently from someone who...
Kim Driscoll.
Oh, there we go.
Lieutenant Governor was here yesterday. So she is meeting with all the new elected mayors. So she just wanted to swing by and see what my challenges were. So we got to talk on the challenges that Marlborough
Oh, and there's a really
facing.
fantastic picture of you both in front of City Hall, too. You both look great.
Yeah, thank you, yeah. You know, she texted me during like the first few snowstorms. She came and spoke at the inauguration. Regardless of political beliefs, you know, whether you're for her or against her, she gets being a mayor, you know, so to be able to talk on that level of what the challenges are, she understands it, she respects it, she gives some advice and like, hey, this is what I would do, or like, you know, make sure I'm eating and sleeping was the topic of the conversation on some level, but just to connect with her and to build that relationship with the State House, you know, so moving forward, if we get any grants or, you know, it's easy to like, hey, we know we're doing this, what do you think? Would this be a good grant option? Or, you know, it's just kind of breaking that bread to cultivate that relationship so we can get some money from the state, or, hey, these are the concerns that we're having. I mean, our concerns are no different than any other community, but there are some differences, you know, so to be able to share that with her on a personal level, it meant a lot to me for her to take the time, and she was very appreciative of my time, and so it was a good conversation. Right. It was a good conversation. I'm happy that we walked down Main Street and got to show her some things, and yeah, it was nice.
Always nice to show off your community.
I'm very proud of this community,
I know.
You know, and I told her, I'm like, you know, we're the city to watch, and she's like, we're well aware of that, you know, just because Marlborough has so much to offer, and she actually drove by the boardwalk, and it's like, oh my God, that's so cool.
It is.
So we got to talk about that, so it's nice to make sure that Marlborough's still on their radar, because it should be.
Right,
It should be. So.
One more question. It's not on the list here. But I know earlier, it was either this week or last week, I heard that you went to a sort of mayor's convention, or
So,
I'm just curious what that was like, and maybe if there are any key takeaways that you had that you can close us out with.
Yeah, so being a mayor obviously has its extreme challenges and rewards at the same time. But for me personally, my friends aren't mayors. You know, like, you know, I can talk about what it's like to be a mayor, but to be in a room to talk about mayor things and challenges, for me, it was very much needed. You know, just to like, you get it, you understand it. There was a DEI component, diversity, equity, and inclusion component of that, and how do we incorporate that into municipalities, which was great. I think that's needed. But also just to kind of let your hair down and be like, hey, what are you guys facing? What's going on in your community? You know, Marlborough's very fortunate to be in a great financial position to hear other communities that have 2.5 overrides, or they're cutting budgets left and right, or they're laying off school teachers. And it just definitely sets a tone that like, hey, Marlborough's in a good place, and I'm very fortunate for that, but we still have our share of problems, and just like every other community. So to kind of reflect on that and kind of say, hey, what would you do? What's this? And being a new mayor to kind of build that mentorship with other mayors who's been through it, for me, it was a perfect timing, you know, being a few months in and to know that like, hey, I'm not alone. You know, because being at the top, it can be very lonely at sometimes. So to know, hey, this is normal, you're doing okay, things are good. Because again, I think people forget that we are human at the end of the day. You know, I do make mistakes, I'm not perfect. This is a huge learning curve for anyone in this role, whether you're 2 years in or 8 years in or 6 months in. So just to kind of decompress about that, it was very worthwhile. It rained the whole weekend, but that's fine. But again, it was more about making those connections and let's say, hey, what do you do about this? Or it's just a good avenue or reference check.
Yeah, fantastic.
So, yeah, it was great. It was great. I wish it was a little bit longer or more of them, but you know, we're all very busy, and there's never enough time, you know, but...
Well, thank you so much for taking the time today to help us get some of this information out to the community. I always appreciate it.
Yeah, and you know, anyone can always reach out to my office if you have any questions or concerns, but I do appreciate this. It's always good to see you and chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of Corner Office. I'm Ryan Malyar, and thanks for watching here on WMCT-TV.